Unpopular opinion, but I think we gotta start letting people know we're better than them.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Subway!
for August 14th, 2026. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's better than me. I don't know if she's better than anybody else, but she's better than me, that's for sure.
Definitely better than
Ashley
you.
Burns. I had to ask.
For example, I know what year it is.
I think I owe you.
Didn't even hesitate.
I owe you an apology.
Oh, do you, of course you do.
I think that's a fantastic answer, by the way. Yes, of course. So, what is it that I'm apologizing for, Ashley?
I think it's important as part of an apology to acknowledge what you did wrong. Don't tell me that you owe me an apology and then expect me to help you through it.
But at the same time, it's also good to acknowledge the pain that you've gone through for whatever I did wrong. So maybe you'd like to address first what it is that I'm apologizing for. What do you think I'm apologizing for?
I have no idea what's wrong.
So,
What did you do?
Grandpa's in town, and Grandpa is Ashley's dad. And it's really great because he's over here almost every summer at this point.
Yeah, he comes over for a lot of the summers. He loves, mostly because like the kids are out of school. I'm like old potatoes, right? Like I'm whatever. He's known me for 40 years at this point. It's like he's like, you're fine. But the grandkids, he's like, boop, 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 boop. We're going off to the beach. We're having a sleepover.
People always say that, but yeah.
We're going hot tub. And it's like, you know what it is. It's like, I get it. He loves me very much, but he wouldn't be over here every summer just for me. It's because the summer, the kids are out of school and he can spend as much time with them as possible and just, really do an intensive grandpa course.
I saw an explanation by a grandparent as to why that grandparent love exists. And it seems like it's so different than the love you experienced from that person as a parent.
You mean when like you're watching your parent deal with your kids and be awesome and you're like, show them how fucking crazy you are.
I've seen the reels say that. Yeah,
Yep.
Sure. It is weird that you reach a point in your life, and a lot of people listening to this are probably at that point in their life where like everything depends on you. You're like the center. Like you have older parents. Hopefully they're not at a point where they need to be cared for yet. But if you have kids, you're taking care of these kids and making sure everything in their life goes right. And at the same time, you're doing like all the career stuff of your own life. It all happens at the same time in
Those
life.
are fair.
And like grandparents are just like, the way this grandparent described it was that it's not a different kind of love. It's the same love. It's just that they don't have all the other stuff now anymore. All that stuff is in the rearview mirror, like all the career stuff.
Like all the additional stressors of life. And
right.
probably by the time you're a grandparent, you're probably more financially comfortable than you were when you initially had kids, or like more secure.
Well, because
You've
you're
got
out
like
of the house, right? The
Right.
ones they have to support to stay alive. Yeah. Absolutely.
so it's like it's the less stressful flavor of love.
And we talked about this too on one of our first podcasts ever. It's like, I mean, we got two of us, you know what I mean, working on kids and stuff like that. It leads in my apology here in a second. But people who have like single moms, I just like, man.
I don't know how single
know how.
moms
Don't know
manage to juggle even a portion of what they do.
Yeah, and I do feel like there's a reason why like people who grow up in like a single mom household, they're some of the toughest people around. You know what I mean? Most resilient,
You gotta be.
I would say. Yeah. So this leads into this apology that I had yesterday. Yesterday you went out to eat with your dad, which I was really happy about. I set up a reservation for you guys, a booking, Ashley, where you guys could go out to dinner. And I'm like, I'll take care of the kids and everything. You guys go out to dinner and everything. And me and the kids, we went out to pub night, and we had pub night. We played some chess. We tried to teach Evie some moves.
Our Thursday night tradition.
We have a great new methodology for that because she wants to do it. But really what she wants to do is just make the horse jump all over the board, right? She's 3. She's 3. We don't have high expectations, and she doesn't meet any of them.
What's the chess rating?
ELO?
Her ELO is not great.
I don't know if that's how that's pronounced, but that's how I read it. But God forbid I mispronounce a word on this podcast. But so we were doing that. We went to the pub and everything like that. We came back and then we watched Bumblebee.
Yes, the Transformers film, yeah.
Yeah, which was fun because Bumblebee like communicates via his radio in that. And it's like, there's some moments in there, like some violent stuff, but it's like robot violence. You know what I mean? So does that qualify? I'm not really sure.
That's different.
I mean, it feels like the same as like them taking their toys and like
And going mashing them together.
It
Sure.
kind of feels like that, but on screen, and Michael Bay directing. I don't know that Michael Bay directed that.
And with
one.
a lot more moving parts that never seem to bend out of place.
Yeah, I was always like, the Transformers live action stuff. I always felt like it was too much like just like magnetic parts, like iron filings, like going into a cloud and then a plane comes out. And I always wanted them to be like more like the cartoons where you could see the robot in the car and see the car in the robot when they're done.
Yeah, that was always really cool.
Like I want to know where the head goes. I don't want the head to just disappear,
Right. You want it to fold down into the chest cavity.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see it. Make it work. Make it work on paper before you make it work digitally. And people feel that way too about the Marvel stuff. Like they moved to the nano helmets after a while where they just tap their ear.
Yeah, and then just suddenly they're in their suit.
People miss helmets.
Well, that was one of the things that I liked about the new Spider-Man was that he's like pulling his mask up and down and it's inconvenient sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to have a couple of downsides to being a superhero.
I agree with that. But then you got back. And we were like, I was like, hey, I took care of the kids and everything like that. And you had a great night with your dad and everything. And then like, I realized it was 10 o'clock when you got back and the kids hadn't like, they're not in bed yet and they hadn't taken a bath. And you were like, are the ducks in? I was like, no, they're not. So it's kind of like, oh man, it's like I left all this stuff.
You know what? You fed them.
What's that?
You fed them.
Yeah. They got mac and cheese. They liked their mac and cheese at the pub. Evie I asked for like a side of beans. They came for like a giant bowl of beans.
Okay, question.
It was
How
way
much
too
did she get through?
She got through a ton of the beans. She got through more of the beans.
She likes beans. She's very British in that way. She loves the baked beans with any meal. That's luxury. Baked beans.
Well, we're dealing with a nomenclature crisis here at the house too because we are now, as we talked about yesterday, people were wondering what car we bought. We bought an Ioniq 9. That's what we have.
Yeah.
2026 Ioniq 9. Love it. Did some experimenting today with local chargers. That didn't go so great, but that's okay. We're still working on it. I'm going to follow up on a windmill thing there too. But we keep saying the phrase EV now because we have an EV, but we have another EV in the house. So we got to come up with another word for electronic vehicle.
We'll probably end up, once the novelty wears off, just collapsing it down to the car. Or I've already started calling it the boat.
Electric vehicle, not electronic. I think all cars are electronic. This one is electric.
But it is. It's the same flavor of whenever someone in the distance says "actually," and I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, right, because you hear Ashley.
And then they look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, "Yep, sorry about that."
I dealt with that when we first started dating. I thought people were calling you when I started to hear the word "actually," but I had forgotten that until you mentioned
Welcome to my entire life.
Actually, yeah. I don't know. There's nothing that's close to Burnie, I don't think. I'm sure there's something, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, I apologize. I should have done all the way through to the end of the night so you wouldn't have to come back and co-parent at all on your daddy-daughter night.
Get home from the pub and go, job done.
No, we just watched Bumblebee and time got away and everything. And I mean, you remember when you walked in the door and I was cleaning the kitchen, I go, you're home already? And you're like, it's like 9:30 at night. And I was like, what? So and rushing to go grab the kids.
It's okay though. We got everything done in good time.
See, what happened was I could have faked it. I go, oh man, you got here just as we're like going to bed and showers and everything like that. And then your first question was, are the ducks in? I was like, no, ducks aren't in. Boy, the ducks knew my shame too, didn't they?
They
just
did.
They walked straight in.
They were like, oh man, you know what? Today I'm gonna do you a solid.
Last duck looked at me like awkward. You were very nice about it. I don't think you didn't even bat an eyelash at it until my apology just now.
Look, it's fine. This is part of being a team. We're a team.
We're very good co-parents, but on the days when it's like, hey, you should take some time off and go do your thing, I want to make sure you have a full day of taking time off to do your thing.
Well, I appreciate that. But my dad and I had a lovely dinner, and that was all we were looking for.
I just realized in talking about this how much it sounds like so many guys who are like, I'm babysitting my kids. I don't think of myself as babysitting my kid.
You are practicing childcare for your child.
I am doing 100%.
You're parenting.
I'm like saying you get the night off and don't do anything, any of our usual stuff that we do together. I'll take care of all so you can have a night with your dad.
No, we have a pretty good split usually.
Yeah, so I want to apologize for it.
Thank you.
Still counts as a night off though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Still counts. Hey, we had some discussion yesterday about windmills. And I was like, man, why do people get so upset about them? I love them. And I actually got some really good feedback. And I also want to say too, I really like the community, at least the community comments on Morning Summer. It took a long time for us to go through, I think some of the legacy like audience and discussions and just points that people want to make. And we're like, listen, we want to be able to talk about stuff. If we talk about what people see as the downsides for windmills, it doesn't mean I'm against windmills. It's just we're discussing this. But I get too that there are people out there who are like, no, you can't say a single fucking negative thing. Otherwise, you're encouraging other people to not like windmills and to take them down, I guess, or something.
I think what it comes down to a lot of times is that, perfect is the enemy of good, where something, you can be in favor of something, but acknowledge that it is not a perfect solution. But it's really hard to have that kind of nuanced discussion online sometimes.
So like your night off last night was like, it was a good night off, but not a perfect night off. There we go. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Delta Mango 47, if that is your real name. Another thing we have in the community is that when we talk about some niche thing, we very often have an expert in that thing who can weigh in on it and give us like 5 or 6 paragraphs on it, right?
Right.
And I'm convinced at some point we're going to have somebody that's like out as being like fake or whatever. But it's always somebody different. And it's always somebody who's got an account that's like 8 or 9 years old, right?
Right.
So I don't know if they've been waiting for that moment to be like,
This
present
is my
themselves
time
as an expert, you know what I mean? And get, a handful of karma points or whatever.
I've been in disguise for the last decade, and now my time has come.
This might be, Delta Mango might have the most specific one so far because we talked about the windmills and the views that we see driving on Scottish highways, especially down in the Scottish borders, the borders with England. Did you post the picture of the north, by the way? I sent that to you.
I did. So the thumbnail for yesterday's episode, it did go up late, but it is a photo of the sign pointing to the north.
The north. So Delta Mango turns out is a wind technician who works on windmills in the Scottish borders. And so he had photos of the views from the windmills.
Like from standing on top of the windmill.
Of this guy. I could not believe, of all the topics we could have talked about, that's the most specific thing. There was also somebody in the comments who lives about 100 meters from one of the tubbies and thought, oh my God, I wish I'd have been at the tubbies when they came through.
If only I'd had the munchies at that time.
Right, exactly right. If only I had a late night craving, then I would have seen Burnie and Ashley. But no, it was in a different region. The one we went to was so new that on Google Maps, it's still a different business. It's still a Poundland, like on the street view.
Which is
pictures.
like a dollar store.
How often do they update?
It's not where you go for a pounding.
No. That's what Tubby's is. That's how often do they update those street views?
I don't know. I mean, I imagine it takes a lot of time to take pictures of the entire world over and over and over again.
Yeah, right. And just drive. And it's got to be density's got to play into that somehow. We've covered this area. We're good for 10 years. Not much is going to change.
Right. The business might change. The building's still there.
Yeah. By the way, we ran into a weird problem on this trip. This is really weird. We found Apple Maps to be more accurate.
Better. It was weird. What happened after is we had our delightful trip at Tubby's. And then we were like, okay, now we just get on the freeway right over here and off we go. Except the freeway entrance was closed. And Google Maps insisted that it was, in fact, not closed and kept trying to redirect us back to this freeway entrance. And the diversions, I have to say, were, I would say poorly marked, but it was almost grudgingly marked. I'd say the diversion was grudgingly marked, where they just, every now and again, there would be a sign vaguely pointing you in the right direction. And we ended up finding our way because all freeway traffic was cut off from the freeway. The whole thing was closed. So they'd pushed people off the freeway. You couldn't get on the freeway. And we ended up in essentially a train across the surface streets of outer Glasgow or something.
A train of cars.
That had to go 10 miles up the road to where the freeway opened again.
Right. How tough would it have been to, when you get to a roundabout, you always have to yield to the person to your right. So when that train came through and once we got into the roundabout.
Someone is sitting there for 15 minutes going, what?
They must have been check the radio. Were there nuclear missiles launched? Why are all these people leaving? And one way, because it's an entire highways worth of traffic coming through these little residential streets. Which, by the way, let's admit it, spoiled by living in Texas for so long, Probably Utah's the same way. Utah's actually great because you number your streets in
And
a way
is a
that makes
grid
sense.
system.
In a grid system. In Texas, where I learned to drive and drove for like 30 years, you see the highway, just follow the highway and there will be a way to get on it. Man, there are so many other places in the world where that is not the case.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to just the way cities were built so organically. And like every street that you're driving down in like an old European city was probably a track cart at one point. And there are other streets that are streets, but they weren't streets where the where the carts could fit down. So it was just a walking street.
Yeah.
And that's, it's just the organic growth of a city as opposed to a city planned and then built out after the fact.
Makes perfect sense the way you say it, especially for here, right? I
Right.
don't know how that applies to Los Angeles, California, which is...
That's true. Los
that is a
Angeles
car
is just
city.
weird.
That's a car city, man. And I have tried to navigate Los Angeles. Like, there's the freeway. I have followed a freeway for like 5 miles, and there is no entrance ramp. And people are like, oh, no. You have to go 2 blocks to the east and then catch a side road, and that'll lead to a ramp, which will go to a different freeway, which takes you back to that
And then you
freeway.
meet onto that freeway.
It's crazy. When we got diverted because there was a section, by the way, bold move closing an entire section of a highway in Glasgow.
And yet, not the first time we've encountered
Weird.
just signs that go, yeah, no, this road is just closed. And you go, okay, so what do we do? And they go, I don't know, fuck off somewhere else, I guess.
This is why it takes them 4 years to fix a fucking bell. Anyway, so we did that. But I have to give a shout out to Max Zillion, also from the comments. I think this came from our subreddit. A lot of people talked about the noise of windmills. I will admit, as someone who is very pro windmill, I love windmills and everything. I've never heard the noise that a windmill makes, but people do talk about the noise.
I wonder if that's a mainly complaint from people who live right next to a windmill. Someone was pointing out that there's something like a fan noise. I don't know what that is because, again, we don't get that close
Sounds
to
like a
windmills.
data center.
We tend to drive by them and then go like, oh, that's nice. Look, this is the future.
They're literally not in our backyard, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it might be like that where you can hear like a fan kicking on or something like that. Maybe it's like a cooling thing. I don't know. A fan. I get a what's our guy? He can weigh in on what the fan does.
Yeah, Mango can weigh in.
Can weigh in on like what the fan does and how much noise that actually puts out. I still think that if I had the option to have a windmill in my backyard or a coal plant, I know which one I'm choosing.
Where I lived in Houston, we were right near, what do they call them? Like high tension power lines. You know, the big ones that go long distances.
When you could kind of hear the hum.
Yeah, and they weren't like right over our house, but there was like an easement where they ran by our property, like our subdivision where we lived. I heard for years it's so bad to live near those things as well. You know, that they didn't really make noise. I wasn't aware of them, aside from them being, unsightly in general. And like oil refineries and coal plants are very unsightly. But you don't want to take for granted too. It's like, oh, these things are awesome and they're for the greater good. It's like, yeah, but they're not in your backyard, and we should acknowledge the people who have to live next to these things, right? You know. But what Maxillian said specifically, which is something I had never considered before, and I'm going to read their second part of their Reddit comment here. The secondary concern they have, and rightfully so, is how they will be decommissioned. A turbine requires an absolutely massive concrete pad under the surface of the dirt, and most decommission plans aim to keep it there and only remove the top X feet. I can't recall exactly how much. This in itself isn't a huge issue, but the chief concern is how thin will the remaining dirt be. It's something I never considered before, that there will be an end of life for these things. It's a huge problem in Texas where they have these poorly decommissioned oil wells, and they call them zombie oil wells. And in some cases, they were decommissioned according to the regulations at the time, but like they put a concrete plug when the oil runs dry. But it's still some oil. It's not enough to be worth it to run the oil well anymore. And now the concrete plugs are degrading. By the way, did we talk about concrete cancer that's going on in the U.S.?
No.
There's a really crazy thing. Another thing that I know about it because it's going on in Texas, where they changed the way they mixed concrete specifically for swimming pools. And every swimming pool basically made after the year 2017 is now part of this giant class action lawsuit where after a certain amount of time, there's some kind of silica in it that once it is exposed to water, which guess what? Swimming pools get exposed to water. Concrete in general usually gets exposed to water. it just flexes and then cracks. And so it's this enormous problem of like, hey, we have this new miracle way to apply concrete. And then after a decade, it's like, well, that was a terrible idea.
Okay, so just to clarify, the concrete is not causing cancer in people. It's something called concrete cancer that affects the concrete.
Yeah, I hope that's probably a headline grabber, right? Concrete cancer. Right?
Yeah, no, it's worth clarifying.
Yeah. So, and I know that's totally like surface level of that whole problem. I'm curious about it. It's one of those topics I was going to pin for next time I talk to Becca and she's on the podcast.
All right, this is according to Latham Pools and Spas. Concrete cancer is a more common term for a process called alkali silica reaction, which occurs when steel reinforcements inside concrete walls begin to corrode and swell, causing concrete to crack.
And you can see apparently there's like a very distinct pattern to this, and they can spot it.
Here's a photo of it, and we'll put this in the link dump, but I see a picture of it, and I go, oh yeah, I thought that was just aged concrete. I've seen that pattern all over concrete my entire life.
Really? Because what I was reading, this is something that's like 2017 was a time when they changed to do it. Maybe it was something they did with swimming pools specifically.
I mean, I'm thinking like I've seen that pattern on stairs.
I'm talking a little bit out of my ass here, so let's research this a little bit more. We can talk about it next
We'll put it
week.
in the link dump. Maybe we got an expert on hand.
Maybe we have somebody who's done a residency in concrete cancer, a young doctor who's out there studying it right now,
who's out to cure the concrete
and can talk to us about it. Yeah, but these zombie wells in Texas are a huge problem because these concrete plugs and the ones that were plugged, they're now leaking into groundwater and things like that and leaking toxic water, which is terrible.
Wasn't there also an issue with decommissioned oil wells just kind of still leaking gases into the air?
At some point they just started abandoning them, and then they're just open holes and they're leaking methane into the atmosphere up. And it's a huge problem. And it was something that they probably didn't know about or didn't care about when they first started doing it. And it's a bigger problem in Texas specifically because Texas is an oil state, but it's harder to get the oil in other places. First, I'm going to read you some numbers here. These are from estimates. There are, and this all comes from GeoExpro, is where I could source these things, and Texas.gov. Texas has up to 175,000 oil wells in the state of Texas. 175,000. Saudi Arabia has about 4,000 oil wells because it's easier to extract the oil in Saudi Arabia. In fact, across the entire Middle East of the major oil-producing countries, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, and the UAE, the Middle East has a total combined 25,000 oil wells, max.
And you say Texas is 175,000?
Low-end estimates are 18,000, and Texas has 175,000 oil wells.
The ones in Texas are interesting, too, because if you've ever driven through the state, you'll see these tiny little oil derricks. And they don't look anything like the gigantic oil wells that you would imagine seeing. It's just like this little pump out in the middle of nowhere, just pulling stuff up.
Yeah, that's
just the head bobbing up and down like a
24
like
hours.
a little chicken.
What do you call that?
I would call it an oil derrick.
Yeah, I would call it a derrick too, but when I think of a derrick now, I think of like the tower, with the drilling. That's what I think of as an oil derrick. But I would call those derricks as well. The little like hobby horses going up and down. You see them everywhere. There's weird ones in LA too. Like you'll be near the airport in LA in like a normal residential suburb, and all of a sudden there's a fenced off area and there's an oil well just sitting there. And it's like, what? Somebody must have had the rights to that and just didn't let it go ever.
It's like that we were driving on a split motorway or a divided motorway with basically the freeway, right? And then you have one lane of traffic going one direction, big grass island, and then the other traffic on the other side. And right in the middle of this expanse was a farm.
Yeah.
There was I was like, that is the image of someone who was like, I'm not selling.
Literally in the middle of a highway. Right?
Yeah, they had a sheep farm in the middle of the highway. I don't know how they got to their house.
I don't know how they got to that house either.
It must have been like an underpass, something. They must have, I don't know how they figured it all out, but they were clearly went, I'm not selling. This is my grandfather kept sheep here. My father kept sheep here. I will keep sheep here. And you know what they're doing? They're keeping sheep there.
The only way to get to the house is you just tie a bunch of balloons to the house and move the house out and put it back in when you want to get it back. That's it.
That sounds like a movie idea.
Same thing. They didn't want to let go of the house ever. So I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to defend my windmills here is that the decommission thing is something I had not considered before. But also I feel like what makes a decommissioned oil well such a problem is that the oil runs out or gets to a level where it's not economically feasible to run that well anymore. I don't know that windmills are going to run into that. Like, I don't know that a windmill site will be abandoned once it's established, unless some other major energy advancement comes along, because the wind's not going to change. There's going to be wind there, most likely in that spot, and that's going to be a spot that was identified as being advantageous to have wind power.
Yeah, well, here's what I see the risk being, at least here within the local Scottish power landscape, is that the windmills are privatized. So if a company decides that is going to cost them too much to maintain the windmills, or whatever, they've decided that they're changing and they're going to become an AI company now, right? Like that shoe guy. Or they're like, I think we're just a Polymarket company now. Whatever, like if they decide to change directions and they just don't want to deal with the windmills anymore, then it becomes a big problem for everyone, because it's not a government scheme, right? The government doesn't own like this power generation.
Ashley, I've already talked about construction once today, so can I ask you a favor? Can you please give a trigger warning before you say something like Polymarket? Did you see what people are now going, oh, maybe this is a terrible idea on Polymarket?
Yeah, hold on. Betting on war?
This is insane. They're now looking into the fact that people can go on Polymarket and bet on wildfires, on where a wildfire will be.
Will be?
I'm assuming.
Because that seems rife.
What else would you bet on?
That seems rife for, shall we say, market manipulation.
It's disgusting. It's once again, this is a scourge that is going on. And now, yes, people can now make money if they can accurately predict. What else would you predict for a wildfire? Like maximum temperature?
I mean,
anything you would predict about a wildfire.
I guess like how many acres is this one going to cover?
Could be influenced by some goddamn lunatic or somebody who just wants to make a couple of bucks. Can you imagine?
So what you do? So the new path to profit here, right, is to place a bet on Polymarket that a fire is going to break out in a specific area, and then go make sure a fire breaks out in that specific area.
How would one do that, Ashley? Even how would that happen? What an amazing thing to be able to predict, right? These people should work for the government, predicting where the next wildfire is going to be. It's ridiculous, especially when they got a guy in custody right now. It's just like, yeah, I just set the fires. Just some lunatic out there.
Waited for a dry, windy day.
Ugh, gross. It's also gross. Don't want to end on that note. What else is going on? What's good going on in the world?
Well, there's a Chinese train, a maglev train, that just tested some. I don't know how this is going to be practical. They just broke their own world record by going from 0 to 800 kilometers per hour in 5 seconds.
What? Can people do that?
That's the question, isn't it? It's like, that's...
Well, you got two choices, pal. You go first class on the train, or we can just load you into this cannon and fire you to the next town over.
They're talking about this maglev train and how fast it can speed up and slow down. And I was like, that's super cool, but how practically speaking, are your passengers going to arrive as paced?
It just goes to show, like, technology, we're reaching the point where we're holding technology back, like our meat sack bodies, right? Who are we making this world for?
Right. Like, who is going to use this maglev train? The robots.
Exactly. As they go to their job at the data center, that nobody wants. Who are we doing all this for? Who's all this for?
I love the idea that it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting underway in just a minute. So hold on to your butts. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Speed of light.
Exactly. How you would have to be like, everybody take your seats. No, seriously, everybody take your seats. You're either going to take your seat or you're going to take every other seat on the train behind you in about 4 seconds. Well, the train hit 800 kilometers an hour in 5 seconds, but all the humans died in 3 seconds.
Why did you guys all move to the back car?
Every single person. Where would you put luggage on a vehicle like that?
Right? It's like please be aware that luggage may shift during acceleration.
No shit. I mean, think about the deceleration that comes on landing. I can't tell you how many times I've had my AirPod case or just something I had out and I've got it sitting next to me on the seat on an airplane. And then as soon as we hit the ground, and they hit the brakes, like it flies like 8 rows forward. It's like, well, that's gone forever.
And you're like, well, son of a bitch.
I know I'm the last person getting off the plane now, but 800 kilometers an hour in 5 seconds.
That's pretty impressive,
What
right?
does a roller coaster do?
Not that. Wait till you get a maglev roller coaster. Then you're really going to be causing a lot of neck problems.
And since this is mostly a UK and US podcast, we do have to convert to miles per hour. So that is 497 miles per hour.
So 500 miles an hour in 5 seconds. Imagine
100 miles per hour per second.
that's so fast.
That's crazy
There's
fast.
and even trying to think like, well, maybe they can use it for. First of all, got to be clear, it's not like this was like a full long train. I'm sure if you add 100 cars to the end, it'll take like 10 seconds to get up to speed. You know, whatever. But I can't even imagine how you would use this kind of technology for hauling, say, freight.
Right.
Even the freight needs to speed up and slow down.
Yeah, you have to secure everything and pack everything with like no air in it or no ability to shift in any way whatsoever.
Maybe if you just tip the train so that instead of going horizontal, it's just going vertical, and you can just start launching shit into space.
If you were in the station, you're like, that's my train. Oh shit, I might miss it. And then you blink. Is it gone? Like, is it just, do you watch it take off or is it just all of a sudden disappear into thin air? God damn, that's crazy. It's impressive.
It is. It's a technically impressive feat, and I'm like, I can't wait to find out what the practical applications really are.
It's literally a bullet train. Like literally, like that.
Yeah, how fast is a bullet?
How fast is a bullet? I'm looking
How
up the same
fast
thing.
bullet go?
How fast bullet move? I like that search has made language more efficient. Like how fast bullet move is enough information to have a complete sentence.
Or it's like grammatically, but practically speaking, I totally get it.
These are all in like meters per second. And
Okay,
stuff
let's
like
see.
that. Not quite bullet level. Also, bullets instantaneous.
Yeah, we go. Oh, here we go. A Remington, a 222 Remington round traveling. We'll go like 2,100 miles an hour. So we still have a little bit of work to do before we're out speeding bullets.
500 miles an hour is chump
Let's
change.
see,
5 seconds, make it 1 second.
22 goes at about 1,000 miles per hour on average. On average, bullets move at 1,700 miles per hour.
Okay, 1,700 miles per hour.
So that's really disappointing. Train.
Still room to grow, Ashley. Look, there's still advancements to be made. We shouldn't give the engineers and scientists any ideas. They're probably working on a way to like add rifling to it so the train will rotate as it goes forward. Like spin on its axis. Why not? We'll make things that are practically applicable.
Look, we can't carry passengers anyway. May as well add some spin.
It would be badass though to like be on that train just to see. You ever seen the videos of the guys in the Air Force, the pilots, and they're like in there and they're trying to like
when they're doing high G maneuvers?
Yeah. They're in the centrifuge. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, and they have the pilots in there. Ladies always do great. I feel like, at least the ones they show, it's like the ladies always do great.
Yeah, there's something about female physiology that handles G's better. I'm not sure what it is about it.
Yeah, all the G's, they like it.
Yeah, with the ladies love the G's and the G's love the ladies.
Nobody looks good around 10 G's though. They're all like, they look like blobs. They're like all pressed back in their thing and they're going. Apparently you squeeze your legs. That's what you do. You're trying to keep the blood from going down into your legs. I'm sure there's someone who can tell us a lot about this.
Well, we're going to all be like, I'm sure the next time we get on our bullet train, they're going to be like, all right, now please make sure you do the following things. Otherwise, your blood's going to squirt out your toes.
Yeah, right. You'll have to qualify to get on a train, right? You'll have to take a physical in order to do it.
Right? Like, promise us you're not going to get a heart attack or something because you're going to be accelerating to 500 miles an hour over the next 5 seconds.
There's no way. I mean, they obviously they're reaching the maximum capability of this thing. They'll have to ramp it down for humans. They'll have to.
Of course. Right? Can you imagine how disappointed the train would be? Right? Like, from the train's perspective, it's like, I'm a racehorse. Why did you hook me up to this cart?
I could get so much faster. Be like if you put like Usain Bolt, you had like him like a kid carrier, baby Bjorn on, and he had to race with that thing. It's like, I could do this a lot faster if it wasn't for the fucking baby I'm like, strapped to my tummy.
Stupid babies.
All right, Ashley. Well, who among us can handle the G's on the Chinese bullet train?
I'm going to say shout out to the high G's, Christopher Hendricks, and Ant-Man Forever. Thank you both so much for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere and roosterteeth.com.
Ant-Man, we liked you better when your helmet was real. All right, that does it for us today. August 14th, 2026. We are going to be back on Monday to talk to you. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.